Arjun stands in a silence so heavy it feels like the mountains are holding their breath. His memories are a storm of disconnected images, dark metallic rooms, and a persistent, crushing sense of guilt. He looks down as jagged fissures begin to crawl across the ice, moving with a mathematical precision that defies physics. Driven by a sudden, sharp instinct, he clears the snow from a nearby outcrop. Beneath the frost, he finds a surface of polished, dark metal, a massive geometric structure buried deep within the glacier. The structure is marked with a single recurring motif, 2 concentric circles housing 6 broken lines. As his fingers trace the engraving, the metal pulses with a faint, rhythmic heat. His GPS screen suddenly fills with static, the coordinates spinning into impossible values before the device goes dark. A mechanical voice resonates inside his mind, cold and clinical, memory layer corrupted, reconstruction sequence failed. The horizon begins to pixelate at the edges. The wind, the cold, and the peaks themselves are artifacts of a failing simulation. Arjun is standing inside a massive, glitching interface. A figure in heavy robes emerges from the whiteout, flanked by men in black tactical gear. They move with a synchronized, robotic efficiency, raising weapons that seem to pull the light out of the air. The monk calls for immediate containment. Arjun flees across the ridge, only to stumble into a group of men who share his own face. Some are wounded, others are trapped in loops of repetitive motion. They are discarded versions of himself, abandoned iterations of the same subject. The mechanical voice in his head identifies his biometric signature, granting him Level 0 administrative access. He recognizes the specific syntax of the system's error logs. It's his own handwriting. He didn't just stumble into this prison. He is the one who designed it. To survive the Keeper's hunt, Arjun must reclaim his role as the architect. He needs to access the hidden source code of the simulation and dismantle the loops he spent lifetimes creating. Arjun forces a system crash by jumping into a digital void below the ice. The endless fall allows him to bypass the simulation's front end and sink into his own suppressed memory banks, revealing the high-tech laboratory where this began. He remembers the real world, a 2070 timeline where resource wars and total ecological collapse had made the planet's surface uninhabitable. The physical world was quite literally disintegrating. This diagram shows the cycle core. It identifies unstable branches of a collapsing timeline, forcing them into a single, repeating circular loop. But safety came with a cost. With each reset, the system filters out internal nodes, representing emotion and choice, until they completely vanish. Arjun's mind couldn't handle the trauma of erasing billions of lives. That guilt acted like a virus, corrupting his own memory and fracturing the simulation into the glitching Himalayan loop. To take control, Arjun enters the core's interface. He must manually reconcile with his past selves, integrating their fragmented memories into his own to restore his administrative privileges. He begins overriding the Keeper's authority by projecting the original blueprints from his mind directly into the room. The dark metallic environment reconfigures itself in real time, the walls twisting and expanding as he reclaims the space. The Keepers find themselves trapped, their weapons lose power, and the floor beneath them dissolves into a stream of raw data, freezing their pursuit. Reclaiming the title of architect turns the hunted into the administrator. With the Keepers neutralized, the path to the system's master controls is finally open. Arjun reaches the cycle core, only to find an evolutionary anomaly waiting for him, his shadow self. This jagged, monochrome landscape represents the version of reality the shadow wants to finalize, a world that is perfectly stable because it is dead. The shadow self and the monk are attempting to move the simulation beyond the reset phase. They want to transition into absolute data stasis, where every human variable is fixed, predictable, and devoid of free will. Arjun faces a choice. He can accept the Shadow's plan, which offers a safe, permanent existence without suffering, or he can destroy the core, exposing everyone to the lethal chaos of the real world. This split illustrates the two states. On the left, we have the perfection of the shadow's grid, a world without error. On the right is the messy, organic web of human choice. It is unstable, but it is alive. Arjun realizes that perfect control is just another term for total erasure. He has to let the world break if it's ever going to be real again. He understands now that the pain and unpredictability he tried to reset are the very things that define a living soul. Without the possibility of failure, there is no meaning. Arjun steps forward and touches the cycle core. Instead of entering his password, he introduces a fatal logic error into the kernel, a recursive loop that the system cannot reconcile. The simulation collapses under the weight of the error. The cycle core physically splits open, and the Himalayan mountains dissolve into blinding white light as the digital fragments scatter into the void. True freedom requires the courage to face an uncertain reality. Arjun chooses the chaos of a broken world over the safety of a perfect lie.